So I'm walking barefoot out here, and we've had several heavy downpours. Yesterday it was pretty warm. This morning it was fairly warm. A little bit of rain yesterday. Of course, we were doing the pumpkin things, distributing the pumpkins, to some of the gardeners, and the community members. A little bit outside our personal community, but our car broke down about halfway there. Brake line or master cylinder or something, and just all brake foot everywhere. And our brakes went from kind of spongy to there was nothing at all. It would go down to the floor and barely stop. So we had to call AAA. Waited like 3 hours, and we had somebody come and get us. They had a truck, so we, kind of last minute decision, decided to just haul the pumpkins to another area where they were going to be distributed, which was a little bit closer than where we were going anyway. So it kind of worked out for everybody. So hopefully we got us some karma points or blessings or whatever by helping out the community with that. Back to the weather. So I'd been hearing and reading a little bit about people saying there was a freeze coming. And apparently the local news stations, or one of them, said that, kind of worded it or whatever, like the freeze was coming yesterday. They're like, I'm confused. It sounds like, yesterday was the freeze. But it's today. And if you didn't have a weather forecast based on yesterday and today's weather, you would not think a freeze is coming. It's dreary and nasty looking, but it's not like cold. And we don't know what the temperature is going to be. Yesterday they said 28. Today it says 29. It could be, 25, or it could be 33. Who knows? And all the rain we're getting and have gotten this morning that's why I'm out here barefooted. I'm trying to figure out if I can cover anything or, before the freeze. I need to go get some pine needles and some other stuff, and we may not be able to do too much just because, we were gone yesterday and so preoccupied. We could not do prep work when it was just sprinkling versus like heavy rain we've had today. And of course, stinging nettles are starting to sprout up everywhere, and I'm barefooted. So I may hit quite a few of them when I'm trying to get last minute laundry done so the kids have clean jackets and coats and school clothes. And I've heard that some schools in a few places are actually closing because of the freeze. It's supposed to be like about a 6-hour freeze. Not in our area though. That doesn't mean things won't change. They could announce tonight, or whenever we get the kids from school, hey, daycare closed tomorrow. Hey, the private school closed tomorrow. We don't know. I really don't want it to die, but we've had it for a little while, and this would be a good experiment to see if, because stuff is still breaking down underneath it, in the root system, is that going to have a warming effect to actually protect it, during these freezes. And this isn't the hardest freeze we've ever had. I've been here when it was like 15 degrees, long time ago. 17 degrees, 19 degrees, 21, 22. 29, 28. Hopefully these guys will survive. But I also have this fairly newly planted sugar bell, Tangelo here. So maybe we should put some pine needles around it, and hope for the best. The pine needles area, and we got our trusty rake and our 30-gallon container. and it's raining a little bit harder, so let's see how many buckets we can get before we're rained out. Check this guy out. There's like a stinkhorn or stink pot mushroom or whatever you call them starting to come out of the ground. We got our first 30-gallon bucket full of pine needles to go somewhere. All right, now we're raking up pile number 2, and we'll show you where we put them after we're done. We probably need around 5 buckets. Hopefully we can get that much, but it kind of sucks that we're using this to protect plants versus using a lot of this to build more raised beds. Where we're protecting our other first raised bed, obviously this stuff can compost down, you know, because you have to replenish your supply, at least for the first few years. Otherwise it breaks down and goes down and down and down. Then your roots are sticking out, your plants dry out and die. But we were also planning to maybe do 2 or 3 more raised beds before, you know, the season ends. We'll see how much leaves we got and pine needles. I guess we got a nice little froggy there that hitched a ride. All right, we're at can number 3 full of good needles here. Whew. I'm getting tired because I got to drag this like 600 or 1,000 feet every time I got to barefooted in the mud. All right, we emptied that guy out and we're going to go get number 4. I think we're going to stop at number 4. And I'll probably put some around this mini Oletangelo that isn't in the ground, and maybe some of that stuff in that raised bed there. This is actually the 5th pile I've done here. And I said I wasn't going to do 5, but I'm only taking 4, you know, in that great distance. The other ones, the other bucket was just around this area where I'm at. So 4 600 to 1,000 foot, you know, one-way hauls, I guess you could say. So being that there's bad weather and only so much time and energy, and that we're not like relying on everything here to survive on or anything, this is, I guess, the best we can do. I know in the olden days, you know, people, if they had, you know, a freeze or drought or flooding and something happened where they would lose 1 or 2 crops, they usually lost their homestead because they would go to the bank and get a loan on their property to buy their seeds, feed, fertilizer, their mule, horses, cows, plows, and they might stay up till midnight or 2 a.m. with lanterns working, you know, to protect their crops. Luckily, we don't live in those days. Before I get out of this area, I'll just show you what I did here. So this is where my little grafted grapefruit or whatever it is, hybrid, and I don't remember if this was a flame or a Blanco, but it has struggled for years. I just put a, you know, kind of a blanket of pine needles over there. I tried to pile up, you know, above the graft line as best as I could, this mini Oletangelo here with pine needles. And we have a little star fruit over there and a key lime over here that's somehow miraculously survived over the years, but, you know, died down a lot. Otherwise, that carambollo or star fruit would be like 7, 8, 10 foot tall by now and producing fruit, but who knows why I even keep it alive, but I just covered it. We gotta drag this another 600 plus feet. All right, so it's hard to get down in them crevices of a spiky pineapple, so I tried to go in there as much as I could, and then I kind of shook it on there like I was shaking some pepper, and hopefully that'll cover that a little bit. The avocado kind of went around it a little bit high. Or papaya, obviously it's probably going to die from the top. All these flowers aren't really any good anyway, but I got a bunch of it all around the base, probably a foot up or more. The citrus here, this sugar bell, definitely has a bunch around it. Hopefully it'll help protect above the graft. The black Suriname cherry there, again, it's not grafted, so if it protects the base and it comes back from the ground or whatever, that's fine. One of our red or yellow or lemon Cattleya guavas, same thing. Got it a good 6 or 8 inches above the base, so if it dies from the top, hopefully it comes back down from the bottom. Same thing, there's one over there as well. You can't really see the plant. You can see it kind of crooked from the straw, but it's got the straw. And this guy here, which is another guava, just has a, you know, probably 10, 12 inches up there. A little cherry of Rio Grande. Half of it is covered up, but there's a little tiny bit right there sticking up. And lastly, this was supposed to be one of the more cold hardy yellow or lemon guavas. They all kind of look the same, but I got that from the same guy I got the other ones from, and he said this was a more cold hardy version. So I still put some pine needles down there on the base. I do have a lot of plants to get inside, but probably not going to do that on the video. I'm sure the video is already running long, and I'll just have to rush out a little bit later and try to figure out what's coming in and what's not. I'm going to have a mess in the house with all the plants, especially with all this rain and mud after I just mopped the floor.